All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Flat Hat Podcast. My name is Ryan Goodman. Thank you all for tuning in to listen. And joining me today, we have a handful of student filmmakers here. They're going to talk about their experience participating in the 24 Speed filmmaking contest, which, if you're not aware, is a contest that the college holds every year. It's run through the library, Swem Libraries, where students are tasked with making a film in just 24 hours, and they're given a subject that they have to include and a line that they have to include. The line this year was "regret, what a funny word," and the subject was frog, which I'm sure that'll come up of how each group fit that into their film. So do you guys just want to go around, introduce yourselves, just tell everyone your names, what grade are you, and then give us the name of your film, and then just give us a little brief description of what your film was about.
Hello, everyone. I'm Izzy. I'm a sophomore, and
I'm TJ, and I'm also a sophomore. And we
were a part of In Cold Blood.
We were intermotion for In Cold Blood. I was the costume designer,
and I was director.
It was about a Victorian nurse who wanted to perform a surgery, but the male head doctor refused to allow her such grace. So in retaliation, she murders him, or at least so implies.
My name is Ash Warfield. I am a social junior, but I'm graduating this winter, so technically class of 24. And my film was Lessons with Chad, where I played Chad. This was actually my first time being in front of the camera instead of behind it, so that was a really fun experience for me. And our genre was social guidance, and we decided to let Chad teach the audience how to be cool. So that was our plot.
I think I learned a lot from that one. I think I really learned a lot about how to be cool. Yeah.
I'm glad. It got the job done.
Ash is the coolest person, so I think she was
very qualified to give that instruction.
Very qualified to play the role.
I was born to play Chad. I was so ready.
I second this opinion, and that segues into my introduction. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Jack Weisgerber. My mic is too hot, it sounds like. So we're going to fix that. Oh, beautiful. All is right and balanced in the world now. I made the film The Great Elasmodorian Whiz-Off with my team, Gents, spelled with a J, although we are affiliated with the registered student organization, Gentlemen of the College. My film was in the fantasy genre, and as soon as myself and my co-director saw that we had drawn fantasy, we looked at each other, shared a pregnant pause, and then said wizard battle in unison. So the idea of wizard battle eventually developed into a wizard competition show. So we modeled it after Great British Bake Off, where there's 3 different challenges. They all have to do different spells and whatnot, and we sort of have like 3 different little wacky wizards up there, including one guy who's very, very clearly not a wizard, but just a normal guy with a gun. And
that was my favorite character.
Oh yeah,
I liked the gun wizard a lot.
The gun wizard was a crowd favorite, but hilarity ensues.
And what's exciting is that I think Ash just told us all of these have finally been uploaded to YouTube as of this morning. Recording?
This morning, March 29th, Friday.
So will that be on
the episode comes out?
The William & Mary Library's channel?
It will be on the William & Mary Library's YouTube channel.
Yes, if you guys are interested in any of the amazing premises you've just heard, go and give those a watch. They're all really, really well done. So the other thing I wanted to ask is, have you guys participated in 24 Speed before, or was this your first time doing this?
Yeah. So last year, TJ and I were also part of the same team. TJ was also our costuming person, but he also played our main actor in that film.
Yeah, I was learning lines like right on the spot. But it was a lot of fun, and that's why I came back to work with Intermotion again and be one of the club's members.
I also participated last year and the year before, so this was my 3rd year in a row. Very fun. First time in front of the camera, though, so that was fun.
Yeah, this was my first time doing it, somewhat unbelievably, because I've been doing video stuff the entire time I've been here at the college. I think I only really started interacting with like I call it the filmmaking community at William & Mary this past year, and I think that was a pretty natural transition for me to start doing 24 Speed this year. Although I've helped with teams in years past. I remember, longtime Flat Hat fans will remember the illustrious previous digital media editor, Justin Sherlock. He did 24 Speed last year, and I was a last-minute addition to his team. I edited his video, and he gave me a $25 Wawa gift card. So this is my first real year participating.
That's more reward than I ever got from Justin for doing my job.
Really?
So you should feel grateful. I hope he's listening to this, Justin. If you're out there, you know what you've done.
Justin, one day you'll pay.
One
Justin,
day.
when I get you, Justin.
When I get you. No, so I think the first kind of more specific question I want to ask about 24 Speed. So, you hear 24 hours to make a film. Like, that's a lot. So the what I want to ask is, like, how down to the wire does it get? Like, what's the deadline, first of all? Like, when is this due? What time?
So the kickoff starts at 5:30 the day before. It technically ends at 7 p.m. And you have until 7 p.m. the next day to upload it to the Google Drive that we're supposed to put it to. So exactly 24 hours. My team personally, we were uploading in the last few minutes. So very down to the wire. The first year I did it, we were also very down to the wire, maybe even a minute late. I'm not even going to lie. But for some reason, last year my group was on top of it. We submitted hours early. So it really just depends on the group and how prepared you are.
Yeah, so for us, since we were in the same team last year, we were quite literally down to the wire as well. My dad was present, and he literally drove all the way over here to hand the media center assistants, like, the flash drive. And I think it's still, like, a joke, because every single time I come in here and I interact with Steve or Drea, they just constantly remind me of it. So it's going to haunt me probably for the rest of my years here. But this year, we were actually, like, really on top of it. It really helped to have a second editor, because last year I was the sole editor, and it took a while because we had a very editing-centric film. But this year, I had a second editor, and so he took half the work, and that was so great for me because I could actually focus on audio design instead this time, rather than just timing the actual cuts. So when we split up the editing, my other editor, Brooks Murphy, shout out, he did the entire first half, and I did the montage section and beyond for the second half. And then I also timed up the audio editing. And if you give our film a watch, you do understand that the audio editing is pretty much integral to the plot and the hit of the film.
I was going to say, I think that decision paid off really well, because I specifically, like, you guys, I didn't remember which one you guys were doing at first, and I was like, which one was that again? You were like the heart surgeon one. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh yeah, and then one of the first things I remembered was how, in a good way, kind of disgusting the audio design was. Like, I remember when everybody in the theater, it's really fun for each film when everybody in Kimball kind of realizes what they're watching at, like, the same time, in, like, is this going to be a funny sort of thing? But for you guys, kind of everybody at the same moment realized, like, oh, this is going to be like a little gross. Like, when people, I think, realized, not to give too much away, but the POV shot of the cutting, I think everybody kind of realized at the same moment, because of the sound design, exactly what that was a point of view for. Yeah. And that was a really special moment. So I think that was definitely a good decision.
I think collectively as, like, a group, we were really proud of that shot. Yeah.
As the costume designer, I provided the fabric, and I lost many yards of silk chiffon to kind of, like, display that flesh. But we also have another reveal. So do you want me to tell them what the flesh sound actually was?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't see why not.
It was, I took it from a slime ASMR video online. I don't know if that adds to the horrificness of it or if it takes away, but...
No, I love learning stuff like that. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, and then, like, on my part, like, yes, it came from the video, but I also, like, layered it on top of the actual sound of the fabric being cut, so that way you can actually, like, put together that... Because, like, the flesh was supposed to have kind of an artificialness to it as well. And so, like, having, like, the cut kind of sound layered on top of the squishiness, I think, was what brought really together the sound design in totality. I also, like, panned it so it, like, fit within the space of it cutting. So I hope, like, that was able to, like, see through in the film.
Yeah, it was super cool.
I kind of forget what the original question was. We were talking
originally
about,
was just like, how down to the wire?
Down the wire. You know what? I had a very comfortable amount of time to submit my film, a whole 7.5 minutes before the deadline. There was a rendering error that I encountered in the last half an hour, and I think I lost about 3 gallons of sweat in the editing process to that. I was like, God, Adobe Media Encoder, please work with me. I was gonna say I was listening to you guys describe your process and having the multiple editors. I'd be really interested to hear like what each of your groups breakdown of like the whole 24 hours was, like what phases were at different times, because I know for my group we finished filming at noon on the second day and then had about 7 hours to edit.
Yeah, we had pretty much the same exact thing.
Yeah?
I made
So
like
did we.
Yeah,
wanted to-
yeah. I think that we hit a sweet spot with that because I feel like 7 hours of editing was enough, at least for our group. I cannot say the same about yours because yours had a lot of VFX.
I wanted to ask about the special effects because most of them were pretty like, there wasn't a lot to do once it was kind of shot besides obviously, edit it and call it a day. With you guys, you had like wizard special effects and gun effects and explosions and all. So I wanted to ask, like, that's a pretty big complication to kind of throw in there on top of the restriction of only having 24 hours. So I wanted to ask, like, what does that process look like for you guys?
Well, I am the sole editor for my team, so I did the editing, the audio, I not scoring, but like I soundtracked it, and then I also did the visual effects all in the space of 7 hours. I do not know if that's a replicatable feat for me. I locked in, Ryan.
That's what you got to do sometimes. Sometimes you have to just lock in.
Yeah. I would say, as a filmmaker, I am mostly an editor. That is where I have put the most chips over the years. If you ask me what a prime lens is, I couldn't tell you, but I could.
I'm a photographer, and neither could I. So don't feel too bad about that.
I could go into hours-long diatribes about Adobe After Effects. But yeah, that was when we got the prompt of our genre being fantasy. I thought, you know what, that's actually a really great excuse for me to push myself as a visual effects artist, which is I feel like that term is too much for what I did for this, which is I went to my folder of pre-downloaded VFX assets and I slapped them on. I applied the add blend mode and called it a day.
Everybody has to start somewhere. Don't sell yourself short. It was really impressive.
Thank you. No, I'm pretty proud of it. I think the main focus of the project was probably, as a vehicle for visual effects, but also for comedy. But
Some jokes, some goofs and gaffs.
I think I definitely give the creative filmmaking shot composition prize to the inner motion theme because it was something else. It was
Definitely was, yeah. And then Ash, how about you guys? What was your kind of process like of how how long does it take to come up with the idea first? Because you guys are given a theme, you're given like a genre, but then you still have to do something with that. So like, how long does it take to come up with the idea and then to film and then to edit? Do you sleep? Is that something that you factor into the equation?
First year I did it, I didn't even care about sleep, and then I quickly regretted that decision. So then last 2 years of doing it, I've always made sure to get sleep because it's important. But for our group this year, for Lessons with Chad, we left the kickoff probably around 7 p.m. and we commandeered a classroom to come up with ideas. And we went through a lot. We went through dating do's and don'ts. We went through just something that you could teach. And then I can't remember who specifically brought up the idea to make this Chad character, but it's actually a character that I played in high school for some assignments of mine, and I decided to bring him back. I would say the idea thinking process probably took us until about 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. So that was only 3 hours. We were pretty quick with that. We didn't write a script, really. We just kind of sectioned out, here are the scenes that we want, and then we'll figure it out when we film that scene what we're going to do. Took a break to gather some Chad clothes, eat dinner, and then we got back together probably by 11. Filmed until 3 a.m. maybe. Went home, slept for a little bit. Was up by 7 and at Sadler to film some more. Ended probably around 12 and then maybe 1. And then edited until the submission date. So we were all pretty tired by the end. Not too many hours of sleep, but 3 hours, 4 hours is better than nothing. And if anyone ever does this in the future, I highly recommend fitting that time in, because you will be grouchy at the end of when it gets close to 7 p.m. If you don't sleep and everybody's just like grouchy at each other, it's not as fun. Keep the vibes up.
I would say the other side of that coin is do not oversleep.
Oh,
Because
yes.
that is what I did.
Oh, no.
My team got our prompt. We immediately started gathering wizard things, which if any of you know Jake Poppity, I drove to his apartment and I knocked on the door. I said, "Jake, do you have wizard stuff?" And he said, "Of course, my friend, come on in. What do you need it for?" But yeah, we gathered all of our wizard accoutrement, and then we wrote until about 2 in the morning. And then I said, "All right, guys, reconvene here at my apartment, 8 a.m. Woke up at 8:30 because people were banging at my door. Yeah, so you gotta be a little careful about the sleep, because your body will welcome the relief of sleep, but it does not understand the urgency of 24 speed.
And I think the thing about props is interesting as well, because you all had like something unique. When you guys had the wizards, we have like what material did you guys use for like the skin? I guess that's not too much of a spoiler to say.
Oh, it was a polyester chiffon I got at Mood 3 years ago.
Okay. And then you obviously had all your Chad clothes. So like, I assume there's not really time to buy any of this stuff, right? Like, are you guys pretty much just working with what you have?
TJ and I met in an intro to film class, and TJ was added onto our team last year, like last minute. And by very last minute, I mean like the day of. And it's because TJ told me that he has a costuming trunk. Now, this costuming trunk is ginormous. Like, you can picture a regular trunk. Think 3 times the amount of that. So we definitely had like a lot of fabrics, a lot of costumes to be able to choose from. Now, a lot of these costumes are typically from like the...
A lot of them are actually vintage slip dresses, but I do have a lot of Victorian as well. And I was really excited when we decided on Gothic thriller for the theme of our movie, because I got to break out some dresses that I've never really used
Been
before.
waiting to use those for like 3 years, and you finally got the
so cool.
chance.
You're so brave for allowing it to get blood on it. I was very surprised.
Oh, it was actually a reenactor's dress. I think I got it at the thrift sale last year.
Oh.
So I was grateful for that, and it's a plain cotton, so I'm hoping it should wash out pretty well.
Yeah, and so like the reason why we really picked that kind of aesthetic for our film was because we really wanted to play to our strengths, and our strengths is like Victorian era kind of costuming. Our strengths for me personally as a director is to play into the horror aspect. I don't know if you guys have ever watched any of my previous work, you'll know that there's a common theme, and that common theme is just like massively disturbing things. I do apologize, but I'm not actually sorry.
Don't apologize. Stick to your guns.
And then a lot of our newcomers had really strong writing and acting skills, and so we really wanted to focus our story to be on something that took a more serious route, because I think we were just all in that kind of mindset, which is like kind of ironic, honestly, because a lot of our people are part of like comedy groups on campus, and so I thought it was just kind of funny that we all collectively had like this hive mindset in order to write a serious story. And the funny thing is that we actually we came up with our prop before we even got our genre, because TJ, I think you're the one who came up with our prop idea, right?
I think I did. I know I recommended like anatomy frog from like a book or something somewhere.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did. Like, I remember it very clearly. Like, we were just waiting outside. We were all very nervous. I think some of our members were starting to panic because we were one of the last ones to really just get our genre, and we didn't want the TikTok genre. We heard that TikTok was
that
gonna
an
be a
option this
genre.
year?
It was an option,
Yeah.
yes.
Did anybody get that? I don't remember
No.
seeing that. Okay.
No, I wanted someone else to get it, just not us. We were making jokes the entire week beforehand. Like, guys, what if we get the TikTok genre?
No, yeah, an alumni group got it last year and won best overall.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Like, I think we were fully capable of being able to do a TikTok genre, but we didn't want it. We did not want it. And so when we got thriller instead, we were like, oh my God, thank God for the thriller. And we realized that we could put TJ's amazing idea in our film.
And that's
make it
actually something that I was curious about, because I guess I haven't mentioned it fully. So the way it works is all the groups were kind of, at least from what I could tell, you guys basically all were gathered outside of the media center around that big statue, and you just kind of waited while they ominously spun a wheel every couple minutes, and then they'd call groups in, they'd spin the wheel, and then the wheel would land on, was it 2 options of genre, and then you could just choose one?
Yep.
So they're giving you a lot, but like you have to come up with a lot kind of on the moment. So I wanted to know, do you guys kind of come up with ideas beforehand and be like, okay, let's see if we can work these into the genre we get, or did you kind of just go in like no ideas until we got the genre and then hit the ground running with it?
We went in with no ideas because, well, first of all, the 2 options we were given, one was the one we chose, social guidance, and the other one was musical. So it's really hard to, we obviously didn't end up picking musical, though that would have been fun. It's really hard to come up with an idea beforehand because then you could get thrown a curveball like musical and be like, well, now nothing is going to work. So we tried to go in with as much of an open mind as possible.
I think it is some universally twisted, spin of fate that my team of 14 trained singers did not get musical.
I was going to say, if anybody should have gotten musical.
That is...
You guys would have totally
If you
done
guys
great.
landed on that, would you have chosen it, or would you have been like, we do too much music in our
No, you
in
gotta
lives anyway?
play to your strengths. We could go up there, hit him before he cheats on camera. No, we got... actually, I was going to ask all you guys, what was the genre that you didn't pick?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing the interview? Why aren't you the host?
I'm coming for your job, Ryan.
All right.
No, because we chose fantasy, but the other one we got was training video.
Oh, that would have been
similar,
so much fun.
Similar to training how to be cool, like Chad.
Yeah.
We got abstract realism, cubanism. I don't know. Cubism. It was like abstract cubism or something like that. And we were like,
What?
bro, what is that? And so we picked
Difficult.
thriller.
Right.
Last year was not the best either because our 2 options were martial arts or home shopping network. And we were like, well, we do not know martial arts, but we can find our way around home shopping network.
Well, TJ, actually, I'm a 4th degree black belt, so in Taekwondo.
I don't think the people who got the martial art, my roommate is the group, he was in the group that got the martial arts one this year. I don't think they knew martial arts either, but they just kind of rolled with it.
No, they did roll with it. I think, so this actually goes back to our do you want to say what your genre was first, Ash?
I said it was between social guidance and musical.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, you're
sorry.
good.
I'm so sorry.
How dare you forget?
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Guys, this is my formal apology. I don't have a ukulele on me right now.
Canceled.
Okay. Where were we?
We were talking about...
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, going back to last year and like the original question, if we planned beforehand, I was going on an analog horror kick last year. And so when we got the genre home selling, or was it home shopping? I forgot. Home shopping network. I was like, oh my God, guys, we could do analog horror. And a lot of the group knew what analog horror was. And they were like, oh my God, yes, we could do analog horror. And so I was actually kind of sending stuff already in our group chat to be like, oh, this is a good like text-to-speech bot that we can like type into in order to do an analog horror thing. And so inadvertently, we also kind of planned for that one as well, because we had a lot of resources online already to do an analog horror short. And then this year, we were already kind of planning what we wanted our prop to be. Like TJ already said, like off the bat, guys, we could do like a anatomy of a frog picture and put it inside of a book.
Because it was revealed that you'd have to use the frog like beforehand, right? Like you knew that going in, or...
Well, while we were waiting in the purgatory that was trying to wait to get your theme, they would tell you your prop, and then you would wait outside in the downstairs area before they actually told you your genre that you'd have to adhere to. So while we had the idea that we knew we had to use a frog, we didn't know what our genre was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, and like a picture of a gutted frog is not gonna fit in a genre like musical. Or
yeah.
maybe fantasy if you're doing like a potion book.
Yeah, no, I could see like an alchemist doing something with that.
Yeah, but like, especially for like an infomercial, like for yours, which by the way, I absolutely loved your use of prop.
Thank
Using
you.
like the acronym frog was so creative.
Yeah, no, we were like, how are we going to fit a frog into being cool with Chad? And then our director / editor, Noel, was like, we can make it an acronym. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. What's the funniest, stupidest thing? And so for all of you Chadalonians out there, I don't even remember all the different options, but we ended with forget, regret, obtain glory. And I think it's become iconic.
It has, and that's
Yes,
something
yes.
that's really cool about 24 Speed. And I think they specified this year is how it's not even necessarily like a prop you had to use, right? It's the idea of like there has to be frog, not even a frog, just frog somewhere.
You know,
It's like you guys had a picture of a frog. Some people had like actual, I guess people had pet frogs that they put in their films.
The rules are a little murky. We
Paintings.
also, that's the one thing we did buy. We had to go and find a frog somewhere. So our producer / lighting person, Lauren, went to Target and found a little frog. So that's what just like Chad carried around the frog and would be like, yeah, frog, shove it in your face. Because the rule might be that you have to physically show it instead of there just being the acronym.
It didn't seem to matter too much for you guys, though.
It didn't. But yeah, no, we did have the little frog in it anyways. So
Jack, how did you guys do frog? I forgot.
That's actually a great question.
wait,
is
didn't
what
you
I was
add at the
so-
end of it?
No, it was
Did
at the
you see the
beginning.
frog question mark? That was
there
your
was
group?
Yeah,
there
I
was
love
a
that,
did you see
yeah.
the frog at the end?
So where was the frog? Tell the
So
fans.
I'll tell you. I'll tell the fans, everyone at home, and everyone in this room.
The fans have been
hopefully.
dying to know.
The fans have been
They've
dying to
been
know. They
dying.
need to know where the frog is in the Great Elasmodorian Whiz-Off, which you can now watch online on the William Mary's Library's YouTube channel.
Good plug.
No, but the frog. So what we did is we filmed the entire Whiz-Off in a Sadler room. I forget which one it is. It's one of the ones on the first floor. And we just got this little frog that I had bought from Target the last night. It was made out of yarn. We put it on a table in the background, and I was reviewing the footage. I was like, you can't see that at all. Like there's one shot where it's plainly visible, and no one saw it, I think. So I realized, okay, I got to do something different with the frog. So what I did during the edit is I took a picture of the frog, like very close up, very high def. And then at the beginning of the movie, there's a moment where the host of the show, played by my good friend John Gertis, says, last time on the Great Elasmodorian Whiz-Off. And then there's a sizzle reel from the last episode, presumably, of just 3 very sort of loud and explosive spells being cast. There's someone who like slams their wand down into a cauldron and explodes. Someone catches on fire. And then there is a half-second shot in which my friend Sajin, who plays Archaeopteryx the Eternal, took off the cloak, so he just looks like a normal dude. And he went like, and then I have a half-second morph cut of him turning into the frog. And then it's over.
I need to go back and watch this. I
Yeah.
got to go see this again.
That is, and you should, on the William Mary Library
Find it
YouTube
online right
channel.
now. No, that's awesome. I think we've gone for about like 30 minutes, and I assume you guys have stuff afterwards. So I think I want to wrap up with just one last question of just like we've hit on this a little bit, but when you're making something like this in 24 hours, was there ever a moment where you're looking at everything you have to do, or where something went wrong and you just thought like, there's no way this is getting in, like there's no way we're getting this, and then if that moment happened, how did you overcome that? And if that moment didn't happen, how are you so goated? Like how did you accomplish that?
My group had a mishap. We checked out a nice camera, and we were going to have a nice shotgun microphone, and we had all this stuff going, and I work at the media center, so I was actually helping to prep all the group's equipment earlier that day, and I prepped my own group's equipment, and yet somehow forgot to give our group an XLR cable, which is the only connection you can put into the shotgun mic. So we didn't realize until we went to go shoot. We were like, oh, there's no mic. That's amazing. Thankfully, all of our mirrorless cameras have built-in camera mics. They're just not as high quality. Thankfully, we did social guidance. We put a VHS filter over it. It was supposed to be not the greatest quality anyways. So we just used in-camera microphone, and it worked out fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we also had the mic issue. We were given actually really nice wireless mics. However, no one in the group knew how to use the wireless mics. And so when we put them on, the gain, we didn't know how to change the gain, and everyone was so loud. Also, we filmed most of our film in a laundry room. And so you could just hear that whoosh, 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 whoosh of like the laundry room going on in the back. So it just we ended up also using like the in-camera mics, which I think ended up kind of fine. The dialogue, there was a part where you could definitely tell it was on 2 different kind of cameras because we used 2 cameras. But other than that, like,
you do what you can with what you got.
You do what you can. Yeah. But that's not the issue I was going to talk about for us. So for our prop and for our intro, we actually had one of our members draw the entire thing. So the picture of the frog that was anatomically correct was hand-drawn, right? But it was hand-drawn on Procreate. And so we were going to print it out, and we were going to print out multiple copies because we needed many different ones in order to do all the takes. And so I have a printer in my room, and my printer decided it was a grand old time to just break right then and there. And we were filming in the middle of the night, so no other place was open.
Swem's not open. There's no
others not open. We were screwed. And so we had to film all the scenes that didn't have that part in it. And our prop is kind of shown a lot inside our film. And so we were kind of like, well, what do we do now? And so we had to wake up really early in order to like get stuff done. I know I personally had to stay up until like 4:30 a.m. organizing the shots as like director into what we could do the fastest and the most efficient manner, so that way we can get done by 12 and start editing, because I did have a itinerary for everyone to meet in order to keep us organized. And so we did end up actually ending 12 on the dot, which is insane because I kind of expected us to actually go over to 1. I was like, okay, I'm going to say 12 and give us a 1 hour buffer, and I think we'll be able to do fine. But we ended up at like 12 on the dot, and I think it really helped that I stayed up a little bit longer to organize the shots and see what the most efficient shot list we can get to is.
No, that sounds like that would definitely be concerning if you had a prop like, this isn't about half of our scenes and we just can't get it right now. But Jack, did you guys have anything, or are you goated?
No, we're goated. We had 2 little minor issues that we overcame pretty efficiently. The first was a scheduling problem. Now, I would like to think, since all the guys on my team were from Gentlemen of the College, and I am their fearless leader, that they are very used to taking time and place commands from me. And all of them but one did very well at that. I'm going to directly call out the guy who was late, Maddox Cromash, if any of you know him. And this is going to now be public forever, so sorry, Maddox.
Of course.
Hope this doesn't affect your career viability.
He'll be fine.
Canceled.
Yeah, we started filming at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, and Maddox did not show up on set until 11:30. Now, we called him multiple times that morning, and he would wake up every time he got the call. He'd be like, "Oh, yeah, guys, I'm coming over." And then he would fall back asleep. I don't fault him too much because he was part of the writing team as well. He was up until 2 a.m. with the rest of us. And then we were very lucky that he had a very small part in the final movie. And then our other issue was also, funny enough, an XLR cable thing. We brought a little microphone, like a cardioid, that I own, not from the media center, to record the host's dialogue. And then I realized I forgot to bring my audio interface. So if you look in the movie, John Gertis is holding a microphone that is plugged into nothing. And we left the cable on the table because we thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
There you go. But I think, an inspiring note to end on is that in spite of all that, like, you guys still got in 3 really, really awesome films, which everyone should check out on the William and Mary Library's YouTube channel. They've been uploaded this morning. I don't know if have we mentioned that yet?
I don't think so.
I think we need to mention that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for joining me, and congratulations again on 3 really, really fantastic entries. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ryan.